Founded in 1929 as the Professional Golfers Association of America, the PGA Tour has witnessed the evolution of several golf talents. This has fueled the age-old argument on the best golfer ever to grace the golf course. Today, the debate typically revolves around just two players, but in the past, it involved a large number of contenders. So stick around as we take a look at the best golfer from every decade in the last 100 years. 1920s, Bobby Jones. Mention the great Bobby Jones and a few facts will instantly spring to mind. He's the only man to win the Grand Slam within a single calendar year. During his time, the argument persisted that Jones was the greatest golfer who ever lived. While we can't say for sure that he totally outperformed his peers, Jones is the greatest part-time golfer to ever grace the golf course. Yeah, you heard that right. Bobby wasn't a full-time golfer, as he only played competitive golf for about 3 months out of the year, focusing on the biggest tournaments during the summer. Jones began his run as the dominant golfer in the US Open in 1922, and the 1930 season was one of the most dominant seasons of all time. Bobby entered 6 tournaments and won them all, including a calendar slam of the 4 majors he was eligible to compete in. Jones won the British Open thrice from 1926 to 1930, and the US Open 4 times, in 1923, 1926, 1929, and 1930. He competed in a total of 31 major tournaments, winning 13 and finishing in the top 10 27 times. Following his retirement from professional golf in 1930, Jones went on to establish the Augusta National Golf Club in 1933, where he played a crucial role in its design. He also co-founded the Masters Tournament, which has been held annually since then. And if you happen to have been within a club length of him during his years of domination, you probably would have received complimentary golf lessons from the golf pro. 1930s, Walter Hagen. Beyond his phenomenal record as a golfer, Rochester's own Walter Hagen was the first millionaire golfer and was one of the most influential players in the history of the game. But Hagen's footprints probably wouldn't have been in the sands of time if he had gone the baseball way. After all, he was a multi-talented athlete and was even scouted by the Philadelphia Phillies and offered a position on the team, but he chose golf instead and went on to dominate the sport. He won the US Open twice and became the first American-born player to secure the British Open title 4 times. Hagen holds a record of 5 wins each in the PGA Championship and the Western Open. In fact, he accumulated a total of 45 PGA wins and served as the captain of the Ryder Cup team on 6 occasions. But he didn't stop there. In 1974, the phenomenal golfer was ranked 7th by Golf Digest and 8th by Sports Illustrated among the greatest golfers of all time. To simply put, Hagen was a bundle of talent. But outside of the golf course, Hagen was just too loud and stimulating. He stayed at the best hotels, spent money generously, threw the best parties, and even hired limousines to take him to tournaments. And that's nothing for the man who amassed millions from golf, while his peers struggled to win thousands. 1940s, Byron Nelson. You'll find similarities in every dominant golfer, but Byron was different from the pack. He wasn't just the first man to win 50 PGA Tour events. Byron won an incredible 11 straight tournaments in 1945, and 18 in total that year. His swing was so powerful and consistent that the USGA named a machine after him, Iron Byron. That alone proved he operated on a totally different level. But while fans continued to enjoy his dominant run, he suddenly retired from full-time play after the 1946 season. The golf world obviously felt his absence, but Byron had his reasons. He wanted to become a rancher. Iron Byron later became a commentator and had the honor of having the Byron Nelson Classic named after him, the inaugural PGA Tour event to be named in recognition of a professional golfer. But he continued to play in the Masters, where he tied for second in the 1947 Masters and won the French Open in 1955. Nelson's 52 PGA Tour victories have been exceeded only by Sam Snead with 82 victories, Jack Nicklaus with 73 wins, Hogan with 64, Arnold Palmer with 62, and Tiger Woods with 53. Nelson went on to tutor top golfers like Tom Watson and Ken Venturi, and worked as a golf analyst for ABC. 1950s, Ben Hogan. While some say he's the greatest player of all time, others say he only dominated his era. But whichever might be the case, Hogan is definitely not your average golfer. And if you love the game of golf, you have to love the great Ben Hogan. Regarded as the best ball striker, Hogan used his work ethic and amazing game to win 64 tournaments that are accredited PGA Tour wins. His first victory came in 1938 and his final in 1959. Hogan competed against notable players like Bobby Jones, Jones, Sam Snead, and other generational golfers on tour, and even had to fight injuries after a very serious accident. Hogan changed the landscape of golf forever and was supremely influential in raising the stature of the golf profession. He won 9 major championships during his career, tying him with Gary Player for 4th place in history. Only Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, and Walter Hagen have won more majors. The Texan is also one of 5 players to win all 4 major tournaments: the Masters Tournament, the Open Championship, in which he played just once, the US Open, and the PGA Championship. 1960s, Arnold Palmer. Whether or not you're a fan of golf, you've likely heard the name Arnold Palmer. As far back as 1955, he was grabbing up PGA Tour champions and giving other pros a run for their money. Despite being dubbed the King of Golf, Palmer never managed to win a Grand Slam. However, he openly admitted that he would have loved to win it to make his father proud. Palmer was arguably one of the most well-known athletes of his era and was so dominant that he had a drink made of iced tea and lemonade named after him. The golden period of the King's career was between 1960 and 1963, when he bagged 29 titles and earned around $400,000 on the US PGA Tour, 18 in international tournaments and 12 in senior tournaments. 1970s, Jack Nicklaus. Jack Nicklaus, the dominating figure in the golf world in the 70s, developed a passion for the game at a younger age, and as an amateur, he won the US Amateur in 1959 and came in 2nd place in the 1960 US Open. Jack, the other golfers, the Golden Beer, had a thing for major championships as he made them his primary focus. He achieved a record-breaking 18 titles, 3 more than Tiger Woods. With 164 major tournament appearances, he holds the highest record, and his 73 PGA Tour victories rank him 3rd, behind Sam Snead and Tiger Woods. But the one moment that stands out in his career is the 1986 Masters. Nicklaus's shot on the 16th hole was almost an ace, but hey, a birdie is never bad. In the end, he wore the green jacket like he was getting prepared for an expensive dinner. 1980s, Tom Watson. The 80s decade marked a shift of the guard at the top of golf's leaderboard, and Thomas Watson, the man who needs no introduction, was on hand to keep the flag flying. Watson headed the PGA Tour money list a record 5 times, and was even the #1 player in the world, according to McCormack's World Golf Rankings from 1978 until 1982. Watson won 8 major championships, including 2 Masters titles, 1 US Open, and 5 Open Championships. But it sounds pretty surprising that the only major that has eluded him is the PGA Championship. And if he managed to grab even a win, Watson would have been in an elite group of golfing career Grand Slam winners, made up of Ben Hogan, Gene Sarazen, Gary Player, and Tiger Woods. 1990s, Tiger Woods. Golf should be a game for everyone, regardless of race or color, and yet it's no secret that for most of golf's history in America, it's been dominated by white men. But 26 years later, after PGA rules stipulated that only Caucasians could be members, Tiger Woods took the golf world by storm as he made history, becoming the first African American to win the Masters tournament. It was nothing but pure talent that made him phenomenal, but his wins were a firm testimony to the role that even minority golfers could and should play in the sport. Tiger was just 20 when he turned pro in 1996, and in the first quarter of 1997, he had won 3 PGA Tour events and his first major, the 1997 Masters, where he dominated with a record-breaking 12-stroke victory. Less than a year after turning pro, he reached #1 in the official world golf ranking. And if that doesn't leave you amazed, I honestly don't know what will. 2000s. Tiger Woods. The 2000s marked a revolution in the game, and Tiger proved he was built differently. See, back in the 90s, before the days of Woods, there were over 24.4 million golfers in America. Within a decade, that number had skyrocketed to 29.8 million players, and even golf courses witnessed an influx of development. Although there were golf courses even before Woods turned pro, once the Tiger-inspired golf boom hit by 2006, there were over 2,000 more 18-hole equivalent golf courses in the United States than there had been in 1996. The player, who is arguably the greatest golfer of all time, was ranked #1 in the world from August 1999 to September 2004, a span of 264 consecutive weeks. He regained the top spot from June 2005 to October 2010, maintaining it for an impressive 281 consecutive weeks. Tiger has had some pretty fantastic moments throughout his career, but one of them stands out, and that is the 2005 Masters. Woods' chip-in at the 16th hole in 2005 stands alone in its own class of genius shots. This was incredibly difficult, but the pitch he hit on the 16th hole helped him chase down Chris DiMarco. The rest, they say, is history. 2010's Tiger Woods. Throughout the first decade of the 21st century, Woods was the dominant force in golf. His style and flair helped him bring the first wave of golf popularity in the United States. But at Augusta in 2019, the golf pro is the first and only golf billionaire and has an impressive record of 15 major golf championships and 82 PGA Tour events. He's also the second golfer after Nicklaus to achieve a career Grand Slam 3 times. 2020's Rory McIlroy. After Rory McIlroy clinched his 4th major title, speculations had it that the Tiger era was being replaced by a Rory era, and that couldn't have been further from the truth. The Northern Irishman, who was a member of both the European and PGA Tours, has had a successful golfing career. At the age of 22, McIlroy became the youngest golfer ever to reach $10 million in career earnings on the European Tour. He spent over 100 weeks occupying the position of the world's top-ranked golfer before being dethroned by Jon Rahm. He's also won 4 major championships, including the 2011 US Open, 2012 PGA Championship, Open Championship, and PGA Championship, both in 2024. Along with Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods, Rory is one of 3 players to win 4 majors by the age of 25. But do you make of the golfers that dominated each decade? And who do you think is the player to watch out for? We'll see you in the next one.